It's Ray Martin back again, having a little conversation with my good friend JP Carrillo from Bridgeport. He's one of the most well-known guys in the entire city.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
The owner-operator of Micalizzi's Italian Ice, and huge philanthropist and fundraiser for the city. How's it going, Jay?
It's going good. A little cold out, but we're doing all right. God bless everybody. Happy New Year. Pleasure to be here. Ray's one of my dearest friends. It's a pleasure to be here with him today.
That's it. We're having a little cappuccino with the Italian club today on Park Ave.
Ain't much going on when it's cold out. Pipes are freezing, cars are broken down, AAA's taking 3 hours to get to places. And it's just bills piling up and no work coming in. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah, this has got to be your slow time of the year, right?
Nah, actually, I got to tell you, what's great about this time of the year is that I get to spend time with my family, quality time, and that's priceless, and there's no dollar amount that can touch that. And I do look forward to getting the hell out of Connecticut for a while and taking a couple vacations, because before you know it, April will be here and we'll get busy again.
So, why don't you tell everybody about how it came to Micalizzi's Italian Ice came into your control, and what you're doing to keep the brand, to build the brand, and where you're at now.
Well, it's a pretty interesting story. Actually, Micalizzi's has been around since 1937-ish, somewhere in that ballpark, 38.
Before the war.
Yeah, before the war, exactly. The original owner's name was Sal Micalizzi. He had a bunch of different locations in Bridgeport. Basically, for about 40 years, he ran Micalizzi, started the recipes, which are now, we still have to this day. And in the late 60s, early 70s, my father, Andy, may he rest in peace, became friends with Sal.
Okay.
They got friendly. Sal didn't like a lot of people, but he took a liking to my father because my dad was ambitious. He had the drive, he had the personality, and he just had a good way about him that made Sal drawn to him.
Sure.
So my father had a place called Pick's Parlor, which is right next door to Micalizzi's. It was a luncheonette.
Okay.
Quick story. In 1969, Jimi Hendrix ate a bowl of pea soup on a stool for lunch. No one even know. He looked like a hobo off the street. No entourage, no cops, no fans, nothing. Ate a bowl of pea soup, and that night played in front of 10,000 people at Kennedy Stadium.
That's
True
awesome.
story.
Where's the stool now?
That stool, I don't know. I got sold in maybe it's in a pawn shop somewhere.
That's awesome.
So I bring that up because my father and my uncle Bobby had owned Pick's Parlor.
Okay.
So at that time, we're talking late 60s, early 70s, my father had become friends with Mr. Micalizzi, Sal. And I don't know, I guess at that time, the location of Micalizzi's was on East Main Street. You had one in Black Rock, one in Success Park, one on Madison Ave. I think there were 5 or 6 different locations. The last one was on East Main Street.
Just ice.
Italian ice and ice cream.
At the time.
Yeah,
Okay.
but not a lot of flavors. Maybe 8 flavors of Italian ice and 4 ice cream back then.
Right.
I think back then it was like 40 cents.
People were happy just to get one. Didn't care what it was, right?
Exactly. But my father saw something in the product. He would take me and my mother down to Micalizzi's to get dessert on the weekends, and something about the product just, drew my father in. My dad knew he could do something with it.
Right.
So at that time, my father had also worked for the city of Bridgeport as a sanitation worker.
He was hustling. He had his own. He had his own business. Plus, he was a municipal employee.
Yeah.
He was grinding it out.
He was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, working for the city of Bridgeport. Would get home early. Would take me to Beardsley Park and take me to Micalizzi's for ice cream and do things like that. So he decided that maybe it'd be a cool idea to sell the product out of our house, like out of our porch. In the store, and the porch was in the front of our house.
That's Madison Ave today.
Right. Yes, exactly. So he started buying the product directly from Sal. When he got home from work, after working his shift for the sanitation department, he started selling the product through the porch of my house. This would have been in 1977.
And he still had the luncheonette next door at the same time?
No, he had shut that down.
Okay.
So my whole point is he had met Sal during the time of owning the luncheonette.
Yep.
The luncheonette had shut down. My Uncle Bobby, who was my dad's partner, had moved to Arizona. And then my dad shut down the luncheonette. My dad at that time didn't own the property next door, but he had rented that spot. He owned the house, which we live in to this day,
right,
and have Micalizzi's, but he didn't own the property where the luncheonette was, which is in the parking lot. So he had met Sal during that time. He had the luncheon. Luncheon had closed down. My uncle moved to Florida, and then he had started selling the product and on the porch of my house, right where it is now.
That's amazing.
And then this was in 1977. In 79, 80-ish, the old man, Sal, decided it was time to pack it in. He wanted to retire. He had the business for over 40 years. He was, at that time, in his 80s. He wanted to move to Florida. So at that time, nobody in his family had an interest in the business at all. They just weren't into it. And the only person left that Sal trusted to pass the torch to was my dad, Andy. So in 1979, he decided to pass the torch and give Micalizzi's to my father.
Awesome.
So with that being said, instead of just my dad selling the product retail out of the front of the house, he would also be manufacturing the product. So he had transformed the garage in my house in the back into a manufacturing plant with machines, freezers, and all that to make the product. And at that time, I don't know how much wholesale they had, a couple of accounts, but he would manufacture the product himself and sell it.
Okay.
And then that was in the late 70s, early 80s, and then it was official in 1983 is when it was a done deal, and the original guy Sal retired and moved to Florida, and that's when my dad completely took it over, from that point on.
Right.
A year later, 1984, my dad's complaining about pains in his chest while eating Chinese food at the table. He's 38 years old at the time. I'm 13. My sister's about 7 or 8. They find out he has an ulcer. So he goes to the doctor. The ulcer doesn't get any better. And they do more tests, and they find out he's got esophagus cancer.
Jesus.
So 6 months later, 38 years old, 1 year after taking over Micalizzi's, my dad passes away. Gone.
And now you're the head of the family.
Now, no, well, we'll get to that point. Now my mother, who's got no business experience, ran a register at Pathmark at 38 years old with 2 kids, 1 7, 1 13, makes the decision to carry on the business with no experience. And to this fucking day, I don't know how she pulled that off. I was too immature at the time to understand the responsibility that my mother had.
Sure.
And it amazes me to this day that she was able to raise 2 kids and carry on that business. She could have easily packed in and said, fuck this, I can't deal with this.
Right.
I don't know how to run a business, and just, be weak like a lot of people are, and just in panic and let it go. But my mother said, no, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to carry on what my husband did. I'm going to support my 2 kids, and I'm going to carry on this tradition of Micalizzi's. And that's exactly what my mother did.
That's awesome.
And then as time went on, I was a little rebellious as a kid. I was confused. I was pissed off. I didn't know how to feel.
You were 13.
I was 13. So, it was a weird time in my life, because that's when you're transitioning into a man, you're going through that the whole deal.
Sure.
You have a different mixed emotions. You're angry, you're sad, you're confused. So luckily, with the grace of God and the upbringing of my mother, I stayed in school. I did very well. I was an honor student. Graduated high school, got into a band, wrote songs. Never got to make it as far as a local guy, but I was writing songs at 15 years old and playing in all the bars, which was kind of cool for a 16-year-old kid to be in the bar playing. I couldn't drink, I couldn't go outside the stage, but I was able to be on the stage playing. It was kind of cool. And I was all into the heavy metal. I got my hair grow long. I had all the women, and it was a great time. Put out a cassette, which was a big deal. A demo tape with 4 songs. I thought I was the king of the hill back then. And we had a big following. I used to go to Trumbull Mall. I had all the girls.
And just so everybody knows, Jay's a fellow Kiss fan.
Oh yeah, man.
Gene Simmons, if you're
As a
watching.
matter of fact, I'm gonna say one thing.
Yes.
One of the best times of my life was in 1979. At that time, I was 8 years old. My dad took me to see Kiss. In New Haven Coliseum, the original, the Dynasty tour. It was September 3rd, 1979. And 2 days before that, he hired 3 kids from the neighborhood to dress up like Kiss for $50 and stand in front of Micalizzi's just to entertain me, because he knew how much I love Kiss. 3 guys. They sweat fucking makeup all day. People yelling out of cars saying, "Are you Led Zeppelin? Go fuck yourself." Because, back then, Kiss was like the poser band. Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath were the tough guys.
Right.
And Kiss were the fucking teeny bop posers. But I was that kid. I loved Kiss. So, anyway, I hated disco. John Travolta could go fuck himself at that time. But I was into Kiss anyway. So, my dad, I'm sorry, I'm going off. No. My dad took me to see Kiss. That was a highlight of my life. And then, 35 years later, I take my son to see Kiss.
Nice.
So it came full circle. It's unbelievable. And thank God those guys were well enough to keep playing at 60-something years old so me and my son could see them.
That's awesome.
So that was a big highlight. And getting back to what I was saying about being in the band, Kiss was my favorite band. I got into real heavy stuff, the Metallica, the real speed metal, and the hard, heavy shit, the Slayer. And that's what I was into in the 80s. I was very rebellious, angry. My dad died. I got into the headbanging stuff. That was my release to get away from all the pain I was in. So anyway, I stayed in school, was an honor student, went to college. I got 2 degrees, one in criminal justice, believe it or not, and one in psychology.
Neither one of us should get into that.
So
right now.
think about it. Criminal justice, I saw all illegal shit going on, so I understood the other side. In psychology, because half the people I grew up with were all fucking retards and mental cases, so I figured out what was going on later in life. Right. Bipolar and mental dysfunction and Prozac and all this medication, and I understood what all my friends were going through my whole life. I didn't know at the time, so. But I did very well in school. I made the dean's list. I got awards in those 2 subjects. And, I didn't do nothing with it, but it was a great experience. I had the education, but my destiny was to take over the family business and be part of Micalizzi. So after going to college, getting those degrees, and deciding I'm not going to be the corporate guy, I'm not going to be no cop, I'm not going to be a doctor, I'm going to be the ice cream guy. And that's exactly what I became. And I got involved heavily with the business with my mom. I started making the product because when I was younger, all I did was scoop the ice cream. Right. I was a kid. I didn't, whatever. I would come in, scoop the ice cream, say hello to all the, to all the customers.
The pretty girls came to the window while you were working, give them an extra big scoop.
Yeah.
Little extra on there for you.
But as I got into my later teens and early 20s, I started manufacturing the product. I learned the recipes from my mom. My mother was getting older, and I started getting more involved with the wholesale end of it.
Right.
We had a lot of transitions through the years. The Italian ice was the main thing.
Sure.
That was the main thing. But as time went on, our ice cream became, famous. And I wouldn't say world renowned, but around here, people love the ice cream just as much as the Italian ice. So at one point in time, I would say in the 80s, the ice cream took a back seat to the ice. But as time went on, that wasn't the case. The ice cream started matching the Italian ice as far as the popularity and the whole, fan base we had for the product. So anyway, fast forward as years went on, this thing called social media came out, which we all know and love now. And that happened about, 10 years ago, 12 years ago?
Right? It took you about 10 years,
right.
But you pretty much mastered it.
Yeah, well,
you know exactly when to send out those tweets. You know exactly when to hit the Instagram. It's the middle of the Super. I can guarantee you, middle of the Super Bowl. Second the play's over, bam. My phone vibrates and Jay put up a post.
Well, I will tell
exactly.
I will tell you this.
You got everything figured out.
I didn't learn how to use a fucking computer until 10 years after everybody else knew how to use one. I actually didn't know how to type on a computer until in the late 90s. I was still writing fucking notes down, and I was old school. I mean, to this day, I still don't even do online banking. I still go to the bank and wait in line to make deposits. Believe it or not, there are some things I've never changed. But the social media was definitely something that made Micalizzi's took it to a different level. And when this Facebook thing came out, I learned how to use it with timing and how to use it to draw more people to my product. And it's worked. And I'll tell you, visual for my product is the biggest thing. Just like when you're a kid, when you were hungry, you saw the big fucking Mac coming closer to you on the TV.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted, their mouths would water, and what would they do? They would go out and they would get a Big Mac. So I learned that my product is better served and reciprocated when they see a visual. So I started putting pictures online, and I learned about timing of social media. I learned about, in the morning between 7:30 and 9 when people get ready for work, they're all on their phones. Past 9 o'clock, there's a downtime, so I would stop putting things around that time because the reception wouldn't be as well.
Right, it's buried.
It gets buried in the news feed. I learned then around 11:30, 12 lunchtime, they're back on their phones and I put another post out. I've also learned, and this is a trick a lot of people don't know, the best time to put your post out is when there's something on TV like the Academy Awards, the Grammys, the Super Bowl. Have your post all set while that game is on. As soon as that commercial goes on, you hit the send button because all the people are going to flock to their phones. and they're going to be on their phones, and that's the first post they're going to see. If you wait 20 seconds more or longer, it'll get lost in the feed, and not that they won't see it,
right,
but they won't see it as much as they would when you do it the way I'm telling you to do it. So again, if you want something to be big and everyone to see it, during big events on television, like the Grammys, the Academy Awards, the Super Bowl, whatever is something everybody's drawn on television, have that post ready before that commercial goes on. I guarantee you that the amount of people, the amount of traffic that's going to see those posts will be astronomical compared to a regular day. I've learned that. Basically, you're getting free advertisement for something you would pay for to have that much traffic.
Right.
And these are little tips that have worked for me. And my business, having ice cream and Italian ice, this is something that works for me. Now, is it going to work for somebody else the same way? I can't answer that question, but for me, I'm speaking for myself. Right. For me, it's worked wonders.
Well, the other thing that worked is, you went off the normal road and you decided to start making these great new flavors that nobody ever thought of. Obviously the first unique flavor that comes to mind is the original cannoli ice cream, right? Yeah. Everybody loves cannoli. Everybody loves ice cream. You put the two of them together. I watched you make it with real regatta. Mm-hmm. You didn't play around. That was a step, and now you got all these other flavors that are just you talk about it, man.
Well, you know what it is. People started breaking my balls. Like, come on, like we need something new, and they keep coming up with flavors I didn't have. And here I am with 26 fucking flavors, and they're still asking for something I didn't have. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make fucking everything. I'm gonna make like Ben and Jerry's, make everything. They put them in a grave like they do. They put flavors in a graveyard when they're done with them.
Right.
It's kind of funny. But that's what Ben and Jerry does. Right. And if you go to their plant, which I've never been there, they have a graveyard.
Listen, if you go to their plant, you'll put them to shame. That's going to be our goal.
I don't know about
you're
that.
More popular than Ben and Jerry's.
I wish I was. I'd have a lot more money right now if I was as good as Ben and Jerry's, but you never know. But anyway, yes.
You know what we should do? We should go up there and steal that black and white cow.
You know what?
Let's put it in the back of my truck and we'll bring it down here. We're going to kidnap the mascot and bring it to Bridgeport. What do you think?
You know
It'd be
what?
a good run.
Don't give me any ideas, Greg. Because I'll probably consider doing it. Get me on a night. I always, when someone challenges me, I always do crazy things. So don't put me up to something like that. But anyway,
fair enough.
The flavors. We're the only business that customizes flavors.
Right.
So in other words, if Ray Martin wants to have a special flavor for his niece or daughter, he can name whatever flavor he wants and tell me what he wants in it. Then I come to Ray's niece or daughter's house with her name on a customized souvenir board and a sign with balloons on it with, Juliana's Jubilee. Let's say her name was Juliana. Juliana's Jubilee, flavor of the day. And Jay serves everybody at Ray's niece or daughter's party with that customized flavor, which is really cool. And that's gotten a lot of...
You should talk about your ice cream truck.
Okay.
To give everybody an idea of like what would happen when so you show up.
We have a new business which I started a few years ago called the Brain Freeze Bar. And what that is it's a customized cart, really cool looking, and the cart comes to the party or the event, and we serve the product to all of the guests. The truck, I got to be honest with you. I mean, food trucks are huge now. They're very successful, and I'm not against them. I have one. The problem for me. The truck works better for like a festival or a bigger event, like the Oyster Fest, the Blues on the Beach, what we call it, the bonfire, all the big events.
We had a lot of fun at those events too, right?
The trucks are good for that, but I'm more of a hands-on, interactive guy.
Right. Sitting
inside of a fucking truck with a generator buzzing in your ear all day, and in a hot truck behind a window isn't that fun for me. So I would rather be a hands-on, interactive guy with my fans and my customers. So the Brain Freeze Bar, which we have now, the customized cart, comes right to your pool, right to your bench in your backyard, right to your driveway, whatever. Like the cart can go anywhere. And we get to interact. The fans and the customers could see me scooping the ice cream. They get to become part of it. And they're pointing at things. You can't do that with a truck. So again, I have the truck. It's called the Snowmobile. The cart is called the Brain Freeze Bar, and I have more fun and a little more success with the Brain Freeze Bar. Cool. But again, we are available for festivals and events with the truck. What's up, buddy? Hey. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Happy New Year, man.
So again, the good thing about trucks and carts nowadays in business for a lot of guys like me, small business, is that there's low overhead. Right. All these big loans and big spots. are not the smartest thing for guys in business. Even with restaurants, how many guys do you know
struggle?
You know, they struggle, and it's too much. The overhead's what's killing everybody. We're fortunate enough that we own the property. We have low overhead, which keeps us going. But nowadays, my advice to a lot of people starting businesses, whether it be an ice cream place or a restaurant, is to keep the overhead low. You know, that's my recommendation to a lot of people.
So, you know, hey, what's up? So, the other thing that a lot of people don't know, we'll talk some more about you. You're the only guy to ever be Mr. Connecticut, bodybuilding champion.
That was 100 pounds ago.
Right? And the state powerlifting champion at the same time, right?
Yeah, well, actually,
there was a little bit of a gap.
Well, I'm actually in the Hall of Fame, and I'm the only guy in the history of Connecticut ever to win a national powerlifting title and to become Mr. Connecticut within 14 months. It's a little over a year. So that's my claim to fame. I was a professional powerlifter
And a professional.
in the early 90s. The bodybuilding I only did once because the diet, I couldn't take the diet.
No. It's tough being Italian and stand.
But I had a great run with the powerlifting. I had big lifts. I squatted almost 900. I benched close to 6, deadlifted 740. And I weighed about 300 pounds at that time. Won nationals, won the states. I took second in the world championships. And then won Mr. Connecticut in bodybuilding, lost 50 pounds within 14 months and won that title. Hey, Frankie.
Yo.
What's up, man?
Hey, Frankie, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good, I know you.
You know me.
It's Ray.
How you doing?
We're doing an interview with the camera right now.
For what?
Say hi.
Say hi.
Say wave.
How you
This
doing?
is the famous Frankie. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, none of my events are complete without this man holding the flag for the national anthem. So say hi to Frankie Marcosia.
How you doing?
Frankie.
What is for? The TV or
It's for a show these guys got. It's on YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Frank, what are you writing, a book?
You got a business card or anything? So I can,
Yeah, we'll hook you up. Yeah, we'll make sure you get. We'll get you.
You missed. We had a party last night.
Listen, I go to 90% of the parties. If I miss one, it's not going to kill nobody, okay?
I know.
Okay, Frank.
All right.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, I had a great career. I actually became a personal trainer. I trained Dan Patrick and his wife from ESPN, his wife for a year and a half, and Dan a few times, which that was my famous client that I had. I trained over 50 to 100 people, and I had a good run with that. I was certified by the International Sports Science Association, which is expired. And I had a good run with that. That was my enjoyment. That was my recreation at the time. I still train, got out of shape over the last 5 years and had some physical problems as far as joint pain, but we're getting back into it. Also, again, my second love for life is getting into the community stuff.
Well, and just before we jump into the community stuff, and I guess it ties right in because talk about the Iceman. Talk about the Iceman.
Okay.
Everybody wants to know about the
I've
Iceman.
always been a big wrestling fan.
Right.
My favorite wrestler growing up was a guy by the name of Superstar Billy Graham. He was the first built guy. There would never been a Hulk Hogan, a Jesse the Body, none of these fucking guys if it wasn't for a guy by the name of Superstar Billy Graham. In the 70s, this guy was way ahead of his time. Blonde hair, 22-inch arms. He trained with Arnold, bench 600. You remember this guy?
I remember.
He was the best.
I was a Superfly fan.
Oh, okay. Well, Superfly, I got to get into Superfly, but we're going to get to
Okay.
that. So anyway, the big thing with wrestling for me, I wasn't a big technician guy where I liked to watch an hour-long match with Flair or Harley Race or all these guys. I like the hype, the characters, the muscles, the gimmicks, and the promos.
Right.
The Superstar Billy Graham had all that.
Right.
So that was the first guy as a kid that I saw in wrestling. So as time went on and I got into all the weightlifting thing, a lot of it had to do with being a wrestling fan. So I actually got into local independent wrestling. And I did a lot of matches, and Superfly Jimmy Snuka was my tag team partner.
No fooling.
Swear to God.
I didn't know that.
And we had a match about 5 years ago together.
Oh, really?
At the Greek church on Park Avenue.
No fooling.
It was through the ECPW, the East Coast Professional Wrestling.
Not for nothing. Can Jimmy still get up
Hey,
on the
Pete.
top rope?
He got on the second rope.
He didn't get up on the third rope.
No. What's going on, Pete? This is the president of Circolo right here, Mr. Pete Dora. Hey, Pete. All right, say hi to the camera. You're on TV right now.
Smile, you want to do it, right? Yeah, you want to have coffee?
No, we're good.
We're good.
Buffet up, man.
Thank
We're
you.
good.
So yeah, Superfly Jimmy Snuka was my tag team partner in a match. It's on video. It's documented. We had a great time together, and I actually drove him to the hotel to the Holiday Inn downtown Brady State.
Okay.
With his wife. His wife ran in the hallway to me, and she says, you're fucking worse than Andre the Giant because I had him in the bar drinking all night. And she says, you're like Andre the Giant used to be, you know, giving him too much alcohol. He had a couple too much that night. But that was a great experience for me to be able to be the tag team partner of Superfly, Jimmy Snuka. That was a great experience. I had matches with Doink the Clown, Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Okay.
Right here at this club outside, we had 600 people. We raised money for, I think that was St. Jude's. We had fireworks. We had Brutus the Barber Beefcake. The club made money. He's doing hot dogs and hamburgers. It was a great time. I love it. So wrestling was a big deal in my life. I never worked for WWE. I never was no champion or no great. I know how to take bumps, but I was never no great wrestler. But I had fun entertaining people and kids in the community, and that's why I did it. I became the Iceman. I have my own gimmick face paint that I wear, and there's like this whole character that the wrestling and the Micalizzis combined together and made me this local community character called J Ice. And that's what the whole thing started. So it was a combination of the community events, the Micalizzis, and the wrestling all together, which created the Ice.
I saw you doing a promo on TV once. I think it was in front of City Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Well, 2 years ago.
Who were you wrestling against at the time?
2 years ago, I had this idea that Joe Ganem was to become mayor again, which he did, and that was unbelievable. That Jay Ice from Bridgeport and Joe Ganem would defend the city of Bridgeport and its integrity against this big piece of garbage called Colossus. 6'8", 500 pounds from New Jersey. He started making threats about coming to Bridgeport, destroying the buildings, knocking down City Hall, coming to kill me, coming to take out Ganem, going to destroy the police cars, the fire department, Seaside Park, every part of Bridgeport. But you know what? I says, I'll tell you what, you come down here, and on May 13th, the Iceman, JP Carrillo, and Joe Ganem are going to come and take this big piece of garbage, put him in a dumpster, and send him right back to fucking Jersey where it belongs. And that's exactly what I did. We beat each other senseless. We were in a street fight, all weapons. Everything goes. I hit him with garbage cans, bats, chains. We even burned his balls with sparklers. I lit right in the middle of the ring. 900 people sold out at the Sheen Center, downtown Bridgeport. And at the end of the day, at the end of the night, Joe Ganem and Jay Piccolo hands were raised in victory.
There we go. That's my brother. That's my brother.
See, when you get me going, this is what happens.
Oh, I like it. I like it. This is good stuff. So I mean, you know, at the end of the day, there's so much rich history in Bridgeport, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a great city.
It's great.
I mean, it has so much going on at certain times.
I'll tell you this
and
right now.
Its roots are so.
Ray, I'm gonna tell you something right now. If any director in Hollywood ever was able to capture, and Pete will tell you the same thing, all these characters in the last 50 years, you know, the politicians, the gangsters, the police, if they had them all together, it would beat any movie
Ever.
or sitcom or series ever in the history of
I think it would take me 2 years just to write all the names down in the last 50, if you think about it, right?
I mean, we had some of the most famous, some of the most dangerous, some of the most, you know, charismatic, some of the smartest, some of the best athletes. You know, our dear friend, me and Pete's friend, Tony DeFaro, they call him the Mole. In 1987, April 23rd, we had the worst tragedies in the history of the United States called the La Biance Plaza disaster. My friend Tony DeFaro, on that day, in a Camaro, driving down Washington Avenue, stopped his Camaro and jumped in that building, stayed there for 30 days and dragged out 27 dead bodies. He became a hero. He got Medal of Valor and became the Mole. And that, you know, these are guys that I looked up to growing up, okay? My father, you know, guys like, you know, what do you call, Frankie Cotto, Tony the Mole DeFaro, Freddie Cavuto. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, these are guys that you can't replace. Fred DiNapoli, Frank Del Toro, the old cops. These cops were irreplaceable. They were legends. We had some unbelievable guys down here. I mean, you know, then for athletes, you had Manute Bol. Right. You had, what do you call the other basketball player?
Charlie.
What's the other guy's name? I forgot the...
Chris, there was a couple, but one from Harding and one play the Knicks.
And who's the other guy that had the charity?
Charlie Smith.
Charles Smith.
Charles
That's
Smith.
right.
Right.
Charles Smith. He started a foundation for kids. Unbelievable. Then we had the George Russo. This guy trained all the boxers in Bridgeport. He lived to be in his, 90s? He trained Scotty Lukacek. He trained Tony DeFaro, Ron Siracino, all the boxers in Bridgeport, some of the best ever, came from George Russo. He's an old school Italian guy. He was like the Mickey of Bridgeport, like the Mickey from Rocky, but the Bridgeport type of thing.
Yeah. Awesome.
So these are guys we grew up with. These guys are legends. I mean, you had my Uncle Beaver, you had Louis the Lip, you had Artie V, these are legends, okay? And then, Joe Walsh, we had, Del Toro, and then we had a haunted house on Lindley Street in 1974.
Right.
Okay,
It was on the news.
They say cats were talking. I don't know if I believe all that.
Wait, that was when the refrigerator moved and the cat told the police to get out of the house?
Yeah, we had the Warrens come. They're making a movie about that. Right on Lindley Street, not even a mile away from here, a haunted house in Bridgeport. So we had all these things going on. We had the FBI with the Joe Walsh scandal. We had the Labiance Plaza. We had the burning at the PAL in Beardsley Park where President Reagan called the Mayor Palin at the time on the phone to see if we were okay. These are right here in Bridgeport. All this shit happened.
It's crazy.
And the list goes on and on.
Keeps going on. Keeps going on and on. And and to that point, nobody does more to raise funds. Nobody's more philanthropic. I mean, anytime there's some sort of event or fundraiser, I know you're involved. I know you're involved, and if I want to figure out, a way to get involved, I know all I got to do is give you a phone call and say, hey, what's going on? Because Jay's in there on the ground floor getting stuff done.
But I enjoy the biggest thrill that I get. Some guys like to gamble, some guys do drugs, some guys drink. What I really enjoy is when I'm at an event and I see everybody in that room, whether it's 100 people, 200, 300, 500, whether we're doing fireworks, a parade, an Italian festival, a wrestling match, Santa Claus, whatever the hell I'm doing, if everybody walks away with a memory and a smile on their face, I won. And that's the high that I get. And that's what keeps me going. And there's nothing that's irreplaceable. There's nothing that can take away that feeling I get when I see all these people walking away with a memory and I made a difference. We raised money for somebody in need or someone who, God forbid, was dying, or an organization, or one kid, whether it be 1,000 or one. If one person goes away with a memory or a smile, I'm good, and I enjoy doing that stuff. So, at this point in my life, I enjoy doing the community work. I enjoy, creating. We had sauce and gravy. I instigated sauce and gravy. Okay. Italians, in Italy you call it sugo. That's what it's really called, okay? But in here in America, a lot of the people in the East Coast, we call it gravy. What they say is, on a Sunday, when you put meat
gravy
in the sauce, we call it gravy. But it's really not, it's really sugo is what you call it. So me being the instigator I am, I go on Facebook and I stir up the pot and get everybody going and create one of the biggest debates probably in Facebook history.
Is it sauce or is it gravy?
And we had a competition here. We had over 300 people. We turned away 100 or close to 100 people. We donated over $4,000 to St. Jude's. We had a girl's recipe that's in Barra now, a new restaurant in Sheldon that's showcased there. We made a memory, and everybody had a good time. It was like eating on a Sunday dinner with 300 people all together, like Dominic's in the Bronx. We were all in one big room eating, sauce and gravy. And I had celebrity judges. We had Attilio from Marissa's. We had Kurt from Prime 111. Johnny Visano from Vazzi's. We had Ganem came down. We had all the guys, all the celebrity guys from Bridgeport as judges. It was a lot of fun, man. Really a lot of fun.
Awesome. What do you got going on now?
Right now, I'm just resting.
No, what's next on the agenda?
We got dinner next Wednesday.
See, we got dinner right here next week.
Next Wednesday we have a dinner upstairs. So.
Yeah.
Oh, good. We're back on schedule.
The best dinner you're ever going to get. Tripe, pasta, antipasta, 2 different meats, $30 a head, all you can eat, with wine and beer, best around. They start cooking at 8 o'clock in the morning. These guys are old school, man. Right here at Circolo Sportivo, 2500 Park Avenue, Bridgeport.
There we go. We got Barnum Festivals coming up.
Yep, I'm so excited that my friend Johnny Visano, who is one of my dearest friends and does more for Bridgeport than probably anybody you can know. He's raised probably millions of dollars over the years, is now the 2018 ringmaster. And let me tell you, there's no one else I can think of that deserves that spot more than him. He's one of the best guys you'll ever meet. He's done so much. We do everything together. He's involved with everything in Bridgeport, politically, swim across the sound, the cops, the firemen. He's involved with everything. The guy is unbelievable. Him and Larry LeConte, they're 2 of the best guys you'll ever meet, and he is the ringmaster, and they got some unbelievable events coming up. They're going to have the pub crawl. They're going to have the fireworks down Seaside. They're bringing back the Parade of Champions.
Oh, yeah, good.
They're going to have a first ever mass at St. Augustine's with the bishop coming up in a couple of weeks. I have a little date on that, which is unbelievable.
Yeah. Give me an update on that so we can get it on the website.
Going to raise over $400,000. That's the goal, which he probably will do with no problem.
Yeah.
So it's going to be probably 20 to 30 events from now till July. So
a lot of people don't realize, like, that's the job of the ringmasters, to raise those money and have that the events. So it takes a special person to be able to
you need a lot
to reach out and be able. You need the time, you need the connections, and you need the heart and the will, because it takes you gotta raise a lot of money.
Luckily for Johnny Mazzano, I will say this though, he's got a hell of a team behind him. I mean, he's got Eileen, he's got excuse me, his staff is impeccable. I mean, he's got Nicky Ortiz, he's got Bill Schieninger from AMR, he's got all the key people, the staff. I mean, my girlfriend Tammy, he's got Barb Susi. The team of people he's got is you know, it's like putting together like a dream team.
Perfect.
That's, even for myself, speaking for myself, you know, I can come up with all the ideas in the world and have the greatest events, but if you don't have the right people behind you to run these events, it's not going to work out. You know, so you know, you can give me all the credit you want, but the credit goes to the people behind the scenes. Like when you go see a play in New York, the guys out there singing it and it's got the spotlight ain't the ones that really making that happen. It's the ones in the back you don't see that are pushing all the props and getting everything ready. Those are the ones that create that show and make it a success. So that's an analogy to say that the people behind the scenes of these events that are working their ass off day after day are the ones making it a success. So Johnny Mazzano is lucky that he's got all the right people behind him, but he deserves it more than anybody.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What about the amphitheater coming to Bridgeport?
I got great news that recently I was asked to come in. It's not 100%, but it looks really good that I'm going to be a vendor at the new amphitheater coming in the next couple of years.
So in case everybody doesn't know, the Bluefish Stadium's coming down and an amphitheater is going up in its place. And the amphitheater is going to kill it from what I understand. They got the connections to all the headliner events.
The gentleman's name is Howard Seffin, great guy. Didn't know him that well. He owns the Connecticut Sports Center, and he's a developer. He's a great guy. He's very good friends with the Live Nation guy. I forgot
Live Nation, right?
Yeah, and they're partnered up on it, and it looks really good. I can't comment too much on it because it's still in the early stages, but I look forward to hopefully being a part of it. I was asked to come in, and I hope it works out. I wish Howard the best, and I think it's a win-win situation. I'm totally for it, even if Micalizzi's doesn't get in there, I still will be there anyway to see the bands, and I'm a big supporter. So I wish Howard and the gentleman from Live Nation all the luck in the world on that.
Awesome. Well, I mean, you get involved in everything. You get involved in so much. That's what I mean. Even the small stuff. Even like we got together for the Powerlifting Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? You know, there's like just so many different events. Every month there's something on the calendar.
You know what it is, Ray?
It's got your support, or you're driving people into.
You know what it is, Ray? I'm at the second half of my life now. I'm in my 40s. Life is short. I want to enjoy myself. I don't want to, I want to get as much as I can out of life. And all these events and all these experiences, it's something that I enjoy doing, and I don't want to miss out on any of it. And I try my best to be part of everything, because someday it's all going to be, this show is going to come to an end.
Curtain closed.
The curtain's going to close someday. So while the curtain's open, I want as much as I can get out of life. And I enjoy being part of all these different things, and I, enjoy learning new things and meeting new people, and I'm going to continue to do this as long as I can. I really enjoy it, and then someday there's going to come a time when I'm going to pass the torch to somebody else that hopefully could do a job maybe like I did. I hope.
It's funny that you're so popular, and every now and then you'll see on social media somebody saying JPIC for mayor, this, that, or the other thing. We were talking a few minutes ago, right upstairs. We're talking about it. You don't ever want to be called JPIC. What do you want to be? What title do you want?
I have been approached in the last 8 years about getting involved with politics, and people say I'd be really good at it. I got a good shot, but honestly, I have a lot of politicians as friends. I support a lot of them. But my role here is to be the guy, to be the entertainer, the guy that run the events, the guy to take care of the kids and the community. Right. So with that being said, a lot of people have come up with this Willy Wonka, Walt Disney
You want to be
I guess that's if you want to give me a title in Bridgeport, you could call me. Those are the stuff you could say. P.T. Barnum, Walt Disney, Willy Wonka. Those are the things that I enjoy and the titles I would like to have. Nothing against politicians. I have a lot of politicians that are good friends of mine. But for me to get involved with it, it's something that's not in the cards, and I really don't want to go that route. Being a businessman for 40 years and being involved with different people, those are the kind of things you got to watch where you cross. And again, it's not against them or against that whole world. It's just something that wouldn't work for me. And I just feel that my role, again, is to take care of the people, the kids, the community, and be, the Iceman, Santa Claus, the ice cream, guy, the wrestler, the guy on the float in the parade, the guy with the lighting the fireworks, the guy making the money for
you do one heck of a job lighting fireworks. Let me tell you.
Well, I don't light them. I get other guys.
You get the other guys to light them. You do a heck of a job with those displays. You do a heck of a job.
So basically, my goal is to continue Micalizzi's as long as I can, make it as big as possible. Maybe one day be Ben and Jerry's nationally. That could possibly happen, God willing. But the main thing in my life is to take care of my family, stay healthy, take care of the people, my family, to be the best father and person I can be.
That's awesome. You're a great guy, Jay.
And I want to say I appreciate that. You're a great guy.
Hey,
me and Ray kind of knew, but what's amazing,
this is where, right. Go ahead.
What's amazing about Ray Martin is how the fuck I never met this guy, who happens to be a big personality. Martin's News is one of the most iconic places in Connecticut. Been around over 50, 60 years.
Right.
Okay, and how the fuck I never met this guy? Like, met him like a year ago and got close with him. It just is mind-boggling. It actually bothers my ego. I don't know this fucking guy. It bothers me.
Well, the funny thing is, you talk about social media, right?
Yeah.
And your name's always coming up. We probably got like 500 mutual friends in Stratford, Bridgeport, Fairfield County,
More than that.
all over the place. And so, I know the name. I know JP. And then one day. I think it was. I think I sent you like an instant message or something like a couple of years ago, right? And I'm saying hey, I can help you out with getting that ice cream in a few spots.
And I'll say about this guy, he's always looking to help out. He's responsible for a lot of new accounts. I have Avellino's, Frankie's Diner. This guy always trying to help out, and I appreciate that. Thank you. He's a great family guy. He's a good father, a good businessman, and the only unfortunate thing for me is I had to wait fucking 40 years to meet him.
Hey, well, now we know each other. Now we're all.
And now, if I ever need a newspaper or magazine, I don't have to wait order. I can go right to Martin's News and get whatever the fuck I want.
That's right. You just gotta call me up and I'll hand deliver a cigar right to the ice cream shop.
No, and I appreciate your friendship, and I think you're a great guy, man. And we got a lot of fun and a lot of.
We got so much in common. We had so much in common, like just the way we grew up in the family businesses, and and the things, and just our lives kind of took parallel paths. We just never crossed.
What I admire about you is you're old school, man. You got that old school mentality. You're not
keep it that way.
You're not phony. You're an honest guy. You get what you see. You get what you.
Some people don't like that honesty.
There's no show. There's no fucking broken promises. I admire that.
You might break the camera.
Hey, the world's best treasure right here.
But no, same thing with you. You're out there. We don't sugarcoat anything. And a lot of some people don't like that.
Right, you save me a lot of time and aggravation. I'm at a point in my life now. I don't want to waste any time. And now, when you get more experience, you get older, you can kind of see through all the bullshit.
That's right.
So you like me could meet somebody within 5 minutes, know where it's gonna go.
Absolutely.
So it's nice to cut out all the bullshitters and stick with what works. And you're one of those guys that I consider a good friend, and in that category, being the real deal.
And when you come down to it, at the end of the day, we got so many good mutual friends. And I've heard nothing but good things about you, and I hope you heard great things about me. And you know what I mean? You're a stand-up guy, and I know it.
I mean, you got you got this Aaron McLaughlin, you got this Pete Perillo, you got that Chrissy from Chrissy's Corner. Those are Pat Matto.
That's great.
Those are
all
good
these
people,
yeah.
and a lot of those people, I'm honored that I had a chance to get to know them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's nice to have people around like that.
It's always, and everybody always sings your praises. And,
Gino!
That's where we got you here.
Let me say Happy New Year.
Smile for the camera, Gino. How you doing?
Happy New Year, sir.
Gino Magliocco.
So yeah, so we're
That's it.
So you guys got me on a fucking, got me going here.
Yeah,
I,
got
got
you amped up.
I talked a lot of shit in the last
No,
half
you
hour,
did.
man.
This guy's
I told you,
great.
once I get started, I don't stop. I give you
I
too
got.
much.
I feel like we're forgetting something though. Like there's something we left on the table. We got.
So we talked about Micalizzi's, we talked about weightlifting, we talked about Bridgeport, we talked about Gannon, we talked about Johnny V.
Yeah.
What else?
Okay.
I think
We covered pretty much everything, Jay.
and
like I
I'm
said,
honored to
you-
be here, and I appreciate
And I
this
appreciate your
opportunity.
friendship, and I appreciate you coming on the
I hope
camera
everybody
for
got a
us.
laugh out of it, because
Yeah,
I always try
no,
to make
listen.
people laugh. That's what I'm trying to
Listen,
do here.
this is what and this is what it's all about. So
Thank you.
thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. And Micalizzi's will be up and running again in about 3 months. Call JPIC and Micalizzi's.
That's right.
For whatever you need, wholesale, retail, brain freeze bar. We're always here. 41 years in business. God bless you all. Happy New Year.
Thanks for tuning in. Great fucking interview.
Ray Martin,
Great fucking interview.
good man right here. I'm proud to be his friend. God bless you all. Happy New Year. Right here, Ray Martin. Thank you.